It's time for the Bookie and the Bettor Show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy White, the Bettor.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bookie and Bettor. So glad you're here today. I wanted to take a look at a little bit of what's happening in the NBA with the play-in tournament. A couple other thoughts. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski, joined once again by my friend and colleague, Randy White.
Oh, what a great time of year. NBA playoffs, baseball, still in its intro stages.
You know it, Randy. You know it. So what I'd like to do is we'll take a look at a couple of things here. From a betting perspective, of course, as we're offering all of the following items that we're discussing here at the Book of Baldini's. Wanted to go first, Randy, and take a look and see if maybe you may have changed your mind on some of these NBA series that have begun. Obviously, today, Friday the 19th, we have two final play-in games. Sacramento at New Orleans and then Chicago at Miami. That's the first one, actually, at 4 p.m. here. Miami, obviously, with no Butler, still a 1.5-point favorite. Total 206.5 there. Randy, Bulls make it here into what's going to be a inevitable matchup against the Celtics, or you've got Miami advancing?
The home court advantage in this game, I think, is big. But to not have Jimmy Butler, to not get that 22, 8, and 3, I mean, that's a tough task. And, you know, as bad as Caleb Martin played the other night, you got Bam. But who else do you have on that team?
It's Tyler Hero to be the hero.
Oh, wow.
All those threes.
I haven't seen that lately. So,
so Bulls?
I actually look for an upset here. I really do.
Okay, so from a betting perspective, obviously, you're catching 1.5 at the Book of Baldini's. However, you wanted to go ahead and play them on the money line. You could do so, of course. Catch yourself a nice little plus a nickel. Matter of fact, right now. Let's go to another matchup. Later, right after the Bulls and Heat, the Kings and Pelicans. This one is flopped and then flopped again until it's finally settled right at pick. Randy, we had the Kings as the favorite, and then when we realized that maybe Zion Williamson was going to play for New Orleans, they became a small little favorite. But here we are, hours before the game begins. Games at Pick'em, the total 210.5. Randy, who do you like here with no Zion Williamson for the New Orleans Pelicans?
Well, and it's sad. You know, getting back to the injuries, getting back to the first game and this one, your top players are out with injury. So the play-in is tough enough as it is because you got to win that first one. And then to have to go to the second game without your superstars, that's a tough task. I like Sacramento. I really do. I think Sacramento has more depth right now, obviously. And you can look at the Pelicans. And the Pelicans have tended this year, they go into these big droughts, and the opponents go on 15, 16-0 runs. You can't let that happen tonight or they're done.
Yeah, it's going to have to be all C.J. McCollum all the time for them. And, you know, look, Sacramento, they're not exactly perfectly healthy either. They've been pretty crippled. But, you know, as it was, you know, they're the ones that are going to be in the matchup here with the Pelicans. I actually, if I had to make a lean from your side of the counter, I do like the Kings here myself. Even if Zion Williamson was playing, actually.
They go on these runs where they can't score.
Obviously, the Kings and the Pelicans, they will face the Oklahoma City Thunder on Sunday. They're awaiting the victors of this matchup. Some of the others, Randy, obviously, we want to take a look at these from a series perspective now. You know, we've got the games that are going to be played on Saturday, of course, some of them on Sunday. The pricing that we currently are offering, let's take a look and see if you've changed your opinions here. In the opening round, so the Knicks and the Sixers, this game is settled in a pick. It's exactly what I was hoping for. I think that at this point, you know, the matchups are, you know, pretty set, and we're looking at it from, take a look, see here, what did Philadelphia do? They looked somewhat healthy. They're saying Joel Embiid is probable with his knee injury.
Well, he didn't look good the other night.
So, yeah, right. Even with that, it's not exactly the best case scenario for him. But how do you like this one to play itself out? Which one are you taking here out of Pick'em?
Of all the teams, the Knicks didn't want to play the 76ers first, I can tell you. The 76ers, with Embiid, now I'm saying if he's a full go, they match up very well with the Knicks.
Yeah.
And again, Brunson has done a great job. Don't get me wrong. He's had the career of careers.
Yes.
This year. That dream could end quick with this, because I really believe if 76ers come in a little healthy, they are a formidable opponent in this, and I really don't think the Knicks can go up against them.
Saturday night, the Knicks, of course, with the extra home game in this series, 3-point favorite, the total 209. Randy, moving on to the next one. Magic and the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, a $2 favorite, buyback plus 170. First game on the board is going to have the Cavaliers, of course, the hosts here. 4.5 points, the favorite, 207.5. Orlando, 47-35. Cleveland, just a game better. Kind of a steep price for Cleveland. I wonder if that's quite a bit of a tax because you've got that home game. Can Orlando win the series here?
No.
Okay.
I got Cleveland. And again, I just like the shooting of this Cleveland team. They can put you out quick. That's why I think this first game in Cleveland is such a larger. I'm shocked at the 4.5. To be honest with you, I thought it should be like 7.
Okay,
but obviously -$2, -250 in some places. I like Cleveland here.
Let's move on to another out in the East, the Pacers and the Bucks. This one has gotten well. At one point, we had the Bucks as the favorite here, and then, of course, the news came on with Antetokounmpo. So the Pacers now a very small favorite. Let's just call it pick for our experiment here, Randy. A pick'em series price between the Pacers and the Bucks.
Well, and again, we're back to the injury thing.
Well, of course we are.
Can you believe all these teams with their star players are out? It's just disappointing from a standpoint of these teams. And again, the Bucks, who some considered the 3 or 4 seed there in the West. I think the NBA West is stronger than the East. This really hurts them. And the Pacers are young. They could give them fits because now you're relying on a couple of the old whirly veterans there from Milwaukee. I don't know if they can get it done.
Pacers then?
Yes.
Okay. Pacers to advance over the Bucks. Defending champs, no more.
Upset. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
And for all you listening at home, I really did try and move the pace a little bit faster, but he got us again. Yes, Randy's streak is still alive, at least in this effort. We'll talk about maybe a pick, see if we could get you building off of that win from a while back during the NCAA tournament, Randy. Celtics, of course, are waiting for the winner of the Bulls Heat game, so we'll skip over that. Let's go out to the West now, Randy. First matchup here, Lakers and Nuggets, a big price. Obviously, Nuggets, top of the league, -360 is what we installed them at here in this series against the Lakers. Game 1, the Nuggets a 7-point favorite as well. Total 223.5. As we talked a little bit before the start of our show, I think you like the Lakers here, don't you?
This to me is the game of the day tomorrow. And I really believe the Lakers have lost 8 in a row and really have not looked good.
To the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Right.
And to some big things. The statue of Kobe, they got blown out. The ring ceremony, traditionally, teams that have the ring ceremony don't play well that night. Never mind someplace else. They blew the Lakers out. This has upset written all over it, and for that bargain price at $3, $3.30 some places, right? I love the Lakers here.
On the money line.
Yes, to win.
In the game.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not. No, okay,
I'm not
this is
talking
good.
Series, game.
Okay. Catching 7 for sure, but you'll like him on the money line in the very first game of the series.
And it's critical if you look at this series, and obviously any NBA series, you got to split when you're on the road.
Of course.
Lakers, it's critical to come out with this first game and show that you've improved against this team. So I love the Lakers here. I really do. Also 8 in a row, that streak goes away. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
From a betting perspective, for those of you following at home, obviously series prices ebb and flow pretty significantly. So if you want to go ahead and tail Randy here and take them to win the very first game, but like he said, likes the Nuggets to win the series, then wait until game number 2. and then go ahead and play the Denver Nuggets at a far, far more reduced price, probably somewhere around $2 instead of the $3.60 that they're currently at. On to the next one, Randy, the Suns and the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves here are the ones catching the extra home game. However, the Suns, the favorite, the book of Baldini is $1.45 to win the series. Do you agree here?
Well, here's two teams that really underperformed over the last month of the season. And, Towns is a great play. He hasn't played well. And then I don't know what's going on with Durant and Booker and the Suns group. I really don't. They're so inconsistent from game to game. Obviously, from the standpoint, which kind of shocked me, and again, I think the underperformance and Towns maybe not 100%. How you're getting money at home on the first game?
Suns catching 1.5, total 214.5. Now, Karl Anthony Towns is back. Obviously, it was quite a long stretch that he was out for, Randy. But yeah, 1.5 only. So I wonder if maybe the line's a little too short.
I kind of like the Suns on the road. I really think you've got to see Durant and Booker. Right now, a lot of these pro analytic guys, they're counting them out. Don't count this Suns team out.
And so that's exactly what we have here. Our money line price on this series has gotten to 145, despite them catching points in game number 1. So if you do the math from the previous exercise, and we like the Suns here, or at least the pricing has gotten to the direction we don't like anything. For that matter, I don't like anything. As a matter of fact, Randy, I don't know shit. All right? Well, I only set these prices out there, and I let you guys go ahead and figure it out for me. My
computer has the Suns winning by 8.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, so follow Randy here.
Tomorrow.
Right, exactly. Game number 1.
Yeah.
So you have them winning on the money line.
By 8.
That's a very strong position.
It is.
Onwards to the next round. Thunder, they are awaiting the winners of the Sacramento Kings and Pelicans. And the last one is the Dallas Mavericks and the LA Clippers. This is a pricing that has also flipped a bit. Mavericks now a $1.35 favorite over the Clippers. Question here is going to be on the health. It's always a question of health, isn't it, Randy?
Yes.
Question of health here for Kawhi Leonard. His knee injury is still hobbling him. This one went from Dallas +1 to Dallas -1.5, Randy. Series price first.
I like Luka and the boys. And Harden plays for the Clippers, right?
That's right.
So I got to bet against him. A guy has hurt every team he's ever got in the playoffs with.
Okay. So not so much any real analytics there other than like Harden's playing there, so we're going to go against him. And definitely from Dallas's perspective, all health, 100% nominal there. They're ready to go, and obviously that's where a line move on Sunday was pretty significant. Favorite flipped to the dog. Randy, there's a team that's missing here, and the one that I wanted to take a look at, and I don't know, maybe kind of say thanks so much, but it's been fun. The Golden State Warriors, Randy. They weren't beaten by the Sacramento Kings. They were wiped out of the arena by the Sacramento Kings. And Sacramento, not exactly, like we said at the top of the show, not exactly completely healthy. And they completely dismantled them early, and it was over at the half. It was over at the third. Then there was just Scrabini time to end the game. Randy, is this it? We could say it's been a great dynasty. Thanks so much.
And I think it is. And again, they're not the only team in professional sports. You look at these teams that they win a championship. You want to live and die with the vets. Unfortunately, other teams are getting younger. And you can't have a nucleus without putting some youth in there. And, all of these guys, even Klay Thompson wasn't the same Klay Thompson.
Nope.
And you can't rely on Steph to do it all. And then you never know if my favorite player is even going to be in the game.
Draymond Green is, let's get something straight. It's Steph Curry is the star, but this is Draymond Green's team. He's the heart and soul of this franchise, no matter what way it does it, right? The only person that can stop Draymond Green is himself.
Yep, that's true.
Right? And so here's my question. Let's just offer this up. I want to give you the general manager's hat, and I guess the owner's hat here, because it's that big a decision for Golden State.
Huge.
how deep a cut do you make to this franchise? Or do you say, you know what? This is the face of our team. This is the face of our franchise. We're going to bring, so option A is break it apart totally. B is break it apart somewhat. Or C, nope, this is our face. They're going to play here until they retire. What would you do here with this franchise?
Well, right now, you know how I feel about Draymond. He's a great defensive player, and like you say, he's a catalyst.
He's no doubt.
He's not fit for this team anymore. Clay, his contract's up, so it's going to be interesting to say they might get something for him if they can move him.
It's got to be bit pieces, but sure.
Yeah. So from a standpoint, you've got to go after some youth, and whether it's the trade with some other teams or trying to pick up some youth coming out of the draft, this team, for them to win immediately, has to pick up a couple of players that are talented in the NBA that'll fit in with this team. And unfortunately, you look at the Patriots, you look at some of these teams, the old Yankees.
Right.
You live and die with these guys after 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You got to get some youth.
Right. So I think you're going with option B here.
Yes.
A smaller dismantling.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to make a move here and get rid of one of those three, if not two.
Yes.
If you had to pick one to stay, Curry?
Steph.
It's Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I would probably say the same way here, too.
He's the best shooter in NBA history. You keep him.
The face of the game changed because of him, basically.
Yes.
Well, because of the Warriors. You know, it was, yes, Steph Curry was the one that broke the records. He's the one
any guy that can come in and do what he did with threes and what he still does with threes. I mean, he's across half court and he's firing. But he can change the tune of a game from that 3-point play from a 2-point play.
Yeah.
And he can facilitate the basketball too. Don't forget that.
Of course.
But again, you got to have somebody alongside you. Draymond's a great defensive player. Clay hasn't been the same Clay since his injury.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's time for a change.
Okay. I think I would have to agree with you there, Randy. It's too bad, but I want to say thank you to that incredible dynasty for doing what you've done to this game. It sure is nowhere near remotely close to the way this game looked like before the three of them were put together. And then they said, hey, you know what? We could actually take all these threes. So basically when Mark Jackson left and they brought in Kerr, they said, you know what? Wait a second. You know what? We could really take advantage and just take nothing but these threes in the baseline corner. Might change the way we play basketball. And here we are.
And again, you got Chris Paul. Don't forget, now they've added Chris Paul. So
right.
Again, you're over the hill veterans. You're not helping the team. And the sad part about it is, you're a West Coast guy now.
Yes.
Even though you're from the East.
Correct.
It's great to see a West Coast team doing well. If you live out here, you want a West Coast team. Oh, man, I'm proud of the 49ers. I'm proud of the Warriors.
Sure, of course.
I haven't been proud of the Raiders in quite some time, but you get the gist, what I'm trying to say. You'd like to see a West Coast team do well.
Randy, great dovetail. That's how I wanted to end the episode. So, look, it's still obvious, we've got some time before our NFL draft begins, but I wanted to go and take a look a little bit deeper here because I'm starting to get some requests for NFL propositions on the draft. And the one that I wanted to take a look at is the total number of quarterbacks that will be drafted in the first round. So look, we know of the top 4 quarterbacks, right? It's Caleb Williams from USC, Drake May from North Carolina, Jaden Daniels from LSU, and I guess J.J. McCarthy would be the 4th out of Michigan. The draft order clearly shows a desperate need for a quarterback. So, of course, in some order, it's going to be well, look, we already know number 1 pick is going to be Caleb Williams. So he's going to Chicago.
And I think number 2 is pretty obvious. They're high on Jaden.
Jaden Daniels. So that's exactly from what we read as well. It looks like Washington's pretty happy taking the LSU quarterback, Jaden Daniels. So now that leaves Drake May and J.J. McCarthy and a lot of teams, Randy, that need a quarterback today. So if we're good with 4 quarterbacks in the first 5 picks, first 4 picks?
Well, I really have to ask this question. and I've been really analyzing. I've seen the combine, all the great things. Is Marvin Harrison not the best player in this draft?
Yes, he is.
Yet he's even considered dropping down because all these teams want to move up and get quarterbacks. You got
Yes, he
Minnesota wheeling and dealing right now to get up there. And there's no question. I think the other two guys, it's about injury. Michael Penix has now entered the flow, and even the Raiders are saying they're high on them. And I know we're going to talk about the Raiders in a minute. And like you mentioned, Bo Nix this morning. Michael Penix is the best passer, I really believe, of the kids coming in this draft, but he's injury prone.
Yes.
And I know a lot of the NFL scouts are concerned about that. But as far as best passing ability and most accurate, it's Michael Penix. And whether he was with Indiana or Washington, the kid can throw a football and you're going to catch it because he's going to throw it right at you.
All right. So take a look, Randy, at this. Right, you got the draft order. I sent you the draft order.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the teams. Give me a shout out and tell me, where do you think in the whole first round, how many teams need a quarterback? Without a doubt. So we know the top 3, maybe the top 4. Denver needs a quarterback. Minnesota needs a quarterback. Where are they in the draft in the first round?
Minnesota now is, from what I understand today, is moving up. They could move up as high as number 4.
But they have what now?
They got right now number 11.
So they're at the 11.
But
so
you got to look at the Giants in there, don't you?
Okay, but do we? Okay, because now you've hit a hot button. This is my team, right?
I figured you would.
Okay,
yeah.
Do we? Haha, I just did it. Do the New York Giants need a quarterback?
Well, I'm not a scout. But what I've seen the last few years with Daniel Jones, you need a quarterback. And now you don't have a Barkley. So now who are you going to get to offset that? I really, now you're putting more.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore. More emphasis on a quarterback. Yes, they need a quarterback.
What?
And then you look at, obviously, I know Tennessee's looking at linemen. What's the Chicago Bears going to do?
Well, they know what the first pick is going to be.
Yeah.
So they have, what else can they do?
So you got to count them in. Denver.
All right, so here's the number. The total number of quarterbacks, the prop is total number of quarterbacks drafted in the first round is 4.5 over minus 200.
Well, and I see 6.
6. So if I made it 5.5, you're still going over.
I do see 6.
Count the 6.
Okay, so obviously you know where the Bears are going. Washington's going there. New England's going there. I believe the Giants should go there. I think the Minnesota Vikings want to go there. And I think the Broncos still have that unanswered.
The Broncos need a quarterback, so that's 6.
And I just really believe 5 will probably happen, and they're going to try to connive or something to get the early second-round pick. But technically, there's 6 teams to me in the NFL.
So we mentioned, of course, so it's, we talked about who they were. It's Daniels, McCarthy, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and then somehow, Bo Nix from Oregon and Michael Penix Jr. from Washington.
And that's, again, putting the Raiders up in this.
Okay, perfect.
Now you're at 7.
Excellent. So you're the GM of the Vegas Raiders. So let's go ahead and end today's episode like this. I want to put the GM hat on you again. You were Golden State. Now you've got Aiden O'Connell.
I'm staying in the Bay Area.
You've got Aiden O'Connell, Vegas, as your quarterback. Or you can go with the Gardner Minshew experience. Or you can go with option C and draft up. Where are they? Where are the Raiders in the first round?
Well, they're 13.
You're not getting anyone in the top 4.
I just looked before we came on the show. They're trying to get up to 10. They're trying to get up to where maybe we're above the Broncos. But when you start talking 3 and 4 teams, you got a hurdle.
No,
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So what's realistic for them? Michael Penix might be available at 13.
Okay, so of course he will. There's no doubt he will.
Yeah.
But that's a reach. So if you think that the Raiders need a quarterback and Michael Penix is the guy because it's not going to be one of the top 4, I don't know. Maybe J.J. McCarthy slips. I don't know. I'm not big on J.J. McCarthy. Maybe because everyone's saying that he's going to the Giants and I don't want him. If you're listening in right now and it's still early, obviously it's the 19th of April, my pick if somehow, some way, we could either get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors,
I like both of those.
Who's the kids, Jaden Daniels, he was a number one target. If Malik Neighbors falls to the Giants, I'd be thrilled with that pick.
Here's the thing with the Raiders. Antonio Pierce wants more wide open type stuff. Obviously, that's why they're going to keep Devontae.
Yes.
Hayden O'Connell is still not the mobile quarterback. He's mobile, but he's a drop back pocket pass quarterback. Obviously, Minshew is.
He's a backup quarterback, though. You're not winning a championship with Gardner Minshew.
So does he fit where Antonio Pierce wants to go? Now, you look at Michael Penix. He's not going to be a mobile quarterback either.
No.
So he's going to be a pocket passer. So is this really what the Raiders want to do? I think for that team, you need a mobile quarterback that can scramble, kind of get some guys open.
Unless you give up the whole farm, you're not getting that.
And that's the key. So you'll see what happens with 13 when it comes to the Raiders at 13, because they're not going to be able to trade up too high.
Nope.
And I don't know that Michael Penix, again, I'm going by what scouts say. Great, accurate passer. They're scared of injury. Do you risk everything in the first round to do that? That's the question.
All right. That was a little taste. I didn't want to go in any deeper, but we definitely will be covering it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring back some of my friends. For all you listening in, obviously, the NFL draft and the NFL Super Bowl show was quite fun, and I'd like to get some of my friends back to talk about where they think these players will end up on NFL franchises as we get closer to the NFL draft. However, that's the end of our show today, Randy.
Great week. NBA, Lakers.
Thank you so much again for joining us. If you like what you hear here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you again. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski, joined once again for Randy Wyke. Have yourself a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettor Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.